Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the TGIF version of Today in Sports Betting. It's the first of our doubleheader shows. We're immerse ourselves in college football and take a look, first of all, at the Friday night games on our next video. If you guys stick around, we'll be doing our best three picks for this weekend's college football action. But Scott, we're going to start it off with a pretty good slate of games here. A little triple header Friday for you. They don't have them spaced out as well as I'd like, but you know what? You can't always get what you want.
You're not a fan of the 45-minute gap in between the two late games?
I'm not, and I'd like to watch both of those games. I really would. I think those are going to be two pretty entertaining teams. Although
all I know is if I had the choice between watching the San Diego State game and watching the BYU game, I'm picking the BYU game. That's all.
Well, I got to tell you, watching San Diego State, I'll back up a little bit. It's rarely entertaining. They're not. They ain't exactly your high flying, wonderful offense score fest kind of situation.
They play football like it's the early 2000s.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a lot like watching the Baltimore Ravens play football at the college level. But, you know, we've got a ACC battle that we're going to start off with. By the way, how'd you end up doing yesterday?
I split. I went 1-1. I won with Nevada. I took them minus the 16. I took them early because I thought the line would cross 17. Ended up closing at 17. They ended up winning 34-9, so a nice winner there. Ended up losing with Wyoming. I got them at 3.5 at plus 102 on FanDuel. Pick 6 to start the game doesn't do anybody any good. And other than that, Wyoming didn't really have any answers for O'Brien. We both thought O'Brien would start. I just thought Wyoming's pass rush would be a little bit better than it was. But at the end of the day, Levy Williams and that offense is not built to come from behind, and they fell apart.
Yep, absolutely. We went 2-0 on our premium plays. We had the Niners to cover, and then
the Packers to cover.
The Packers to cover, rather. Sorry, yeah, and we had Nevada as well. We got a bad number on that, but it didn't matter. We had that late at 17 but again, didn't matter. Lost on our play of the day, and that was had the Green Bay San Francisco under, giving up 2 touchdowns during the last 6 minutes against the prevent defense in the back.
Yeah, but touchdown the last 4 seconds.
Well, I know that, but we gave up they gave up 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So and the call there, I don't know if you watched the game or not, but the call that brutalized us was the helmet to helmet on the sack.
That definitely was a controversial call that gave him a free 15 automatic first.
Well, I don't know that it was controversial because
No, it was controversial for gambling Twitter. That's how I'll rephrase it.
Even though it totally screwed me, you're watching the replay going, yeah.
You're watching the replay going, that's 15.
That's as my dad used to say, he got his 15 yards worth right there.
Yeah, but I know that gambling Twitter was going nuts about it, and I'm thinking to myself, was this really that bad? But
no,
yeah, I didn't think it was that bad, but gambling Twitter was going nuts.
It was dumb and it screwed us, but it was the correct call. Yeah, it went from 2nd and 25 at the 45 to 1st and 10 at the 20 with about 40 seconds left. So yeah, it made a pretty damn big difference. So It comes down to the fact though they couldn't stop a 1-yard run. That would have been the end of the game. I don't think they would have called the timeout with 2 seconds left.
They might have. Who knows?
But anyway, so yeah, we did okay. The paying folks got paid, and the freebies got close. So let's take a look at tonight's schedule. Scott, we've got Miami, Florida, and NC State going at it. This line has come down. Actually, it was Miami minus 11 yesterday. It has now come down to 10, although it does seem to be perhaps headed back in the Miami direction as you're laying.
It's kind of pinballing between 10 and 11, but still.
What's that?
It's pinballing between 10 and 11.
Yeah, it's they can't seem to make up their mind. Who you got here?
It's a pretty tough one for me. I guess conceptually I got to lean to Miami because NC State's going to be missing their starting quarterback, and they have not looked that great since. I know they ended up beating Duke, etc. They got smacked by North Carolina last week. I know North Carolina is good, but you're facing another good team in Miami, and you lost by 27 to North Carolina. Now, Miami's offense, of course, a lot worse than North Carolina's offense. I know that they have been pretty good this season, as they are 5-1 overall. Against the spread, they are 4-2, so they have been pretty good against the number. have not looked that sharp the last couple of weeks. I know they ended up covering by half a point against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had a backup quarterback in the game, and that game was very close throughout. And then against Virginia, their offense really struggled, but Virginia's defense tends to be very good. I know that for this matchup, the question is, can NC State stop D'Eriq King? I'm not sure they can. I think Miami has too much speed. I think that they have too much athleticism at various positions. I know Brevin Jordan, the star tight end for Miami, is probable, so he should be playing in this game. At the end of the day, I have to back the team, the more athletic team with their original starting quarterback, as opposed to the home team that's missing their starting quarterback and that has looked pretty underwhelming against top-tier competition this season. So for me, I'm not happy about it, but I'm going to lean to Miami.
Okay, a reluctant lean to Miami, huh?
I don't like laying big numbers with Miami because it's the kind of team that either – the way that I describe Miami is that, there's the term rhythm-based offense?
Yeah.
That's their entire team. Their whole team is rhythm-based, and that's the same thing year in, year out. They started the whole turnover chain thing, which every other team in college now copies, and it's not even original at all anymore. But when they started it, it seems like the energy levels carry over from the defense to the offense, and when things are going poorly on one end, they're going really poorly on the other end. So if Miami gets off to a slow start, I wouldn't surprise to see them potentially lose the game outright. But for the sake of comparing the rosters, I kind of have to lean to Miami here. But I would like to get it at 10 as opposed to 10.5 because I do want the potential backdoor push option. But I'll lean to Miami. Do you agree with what I said about the Miami energy stuff? Because that's one thing I notice about them more than any other team. When things go well, they go really well for Miami on both sides of the ball. When they go poorly, nobody steps up.
Seems like everything rolls downhill both ways.
Correct. And that's something I've noticed Miami. Of course, that's the case with most college teams, but I've noticed that more with Miami than others.
What's your favorite giveaway, Scott, for the turnovers?
It's a tough one. Of course, the turnover chains was the original, so that also holds a special spot. I like the Tulsa Fedora, but that's mostly for touchdowns also, so they kind of merged it together. I like the Fedora on that one. I believe, Lafayette has the the cane?
Yeah.
Something like that, which I find pretty fascinating.
Who does the party? There's one team that does a party.
Yes, the confetti thing, which
yeah,
I forgot
like that as well. But
is that SMU?
Uh,
SMU or Memphis?
Maybe Memphis. I can't remember. It is one of those Steves of the South.
I kind of hate that one because they're in the middle of a play and you see confetti flying all over the field, and I'm like, I understand if you want to do it, but it shouldn't impact the field of play. You know what I mean?
I do. Scott, I'm gonna play a total here, and I've got a play on the side for my premiums, and I'm looking at the under 58.5. I don't think anybody's going to be able to throw the ball. D'Eriq King has definitely struggled throwing the ball, especially lately. He's been doing it all with his feet, and this is a very different team with Bailey Hockman in there as opposed to Devin Leary. Their North Carolina State season took a definite U-turn when Leary went down with a broken leg against Duke.
Leary's good. I mean, I know that a lot of people talk about some quarterbacks who might be sleepers. I'm not saying for the NFL, but just in general. Leary's one of them because he's very talented.
Yeah, he is. And I didn't look. Is he a senior this year?
I am not sure about that. I know also now college football or college sports kind of updated their redshirt rules, so there is a chance he could come back next year.
Yeah, everybody gets a free year this year, right?
I was saying in addition to that, you also had some rules for college football last year where if you played less than the minimum,
well,
then you got your eligibility back.
That's how D'Eriq King got to play another year.
Correct. That's also how Wisconsin got away with it last year because they used one of their backup quarterbacks for like one game, and that didn't matter. They brought him back anyway. So Leary should be back next year. I think he might have had a potential, I don't want to say future in the NFL, but I think he could have been a depth chart quarterback.
See, that's exactly what I was going to say. You just wonder how much this broken leg. That's one of those guys that were kind of on the cusp that this injury really cost him.
I think he would have been a day 2, day 3 guy, but I think he might have won a potential spot in training camp or something.
Yeah, I see him as a clipboard holder, round 5, round 6 kind of guy.
He's a guy who comes in after a couple injuries to some team, and you go, "Who the hell is this guy?" Oh, it's the NC State guy from 5 years ago. I remember him.
I don't know what his major is, but I'm guessing he's not going to make $600,000 right out of college.
At NC State, his major is football. That would be my guess. But no, we were talking about it, but overall, I can understand why you like the under. Miami's offense has been very inconsistent. They like to run the ball. De'Aaron King isn't that great. The running game for Miami is pretty good, especially with King with his mobility.
Right.
In NC State, you have to wonder against the Miami defense, can the backup quarterback hold up, or particularly can the offensive line hold up? That's a separate story. So I'm not really sure about the answers to those.
That's the thing. I don't know how NC State's going to how they're effective they're going to be throwing the football against this Miami pass rush. And
I mean, for comparison purposes, last week NC State played against North Carolina. I know the last game, that was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
North Carolina's defense is rather bad, despite them being a ranked team. They gave up a bunch of points to Florida State, gave a bunch of points to Virginia last week. They only scored 21 against North Carolina's defense. It's not exactly a good look. And I know North Carolina's ranked, but that defense is not top 25 at all.
They rushed for just 34 yards.
That's not good.
And yeah, they threw for 358, but that is of course misleading, as that was an absolute blowout, and a lot of those yards came in garbage time. So I'm on the under here. Is going to be my play. With us, you are on a reluctant Miami right there.
I kind of have to, because I am a little bit – both teams haven't played in roughly 2 weeks because they both had a bye going into this game. And I'm going to lean to Miami, but it wouldn't surprise me if NC State looks at this saying, we got smacked by a ranked opponent in our last game. It's a decent spot to circle the wagons. But I'll lean to Miami.
Okay, very good. Taking a look here, Scott, at the first of our late games out west at San Jose State and San Diego State.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego State, another 10-point favorite right here, and the total is 48.5 instead of 50.
Well, I know you said you have a play on the total, so
I do. I have my play of the day is actually on the total, but I will talk about this one as far as the side goes. I'm a big fan of the San Diego State team. I really am. Any team that can play defense like that, I think, is always going to have a shot. 10's a ton. And San Jose State team, I'm not sure what we have here, Scott, because it's a team that played tough against Air Force, and they were able to hold Air Force to just 6 points, and of course those points came late. But then you go backwards, and I'm not sure we have an Air Force, so it's kind of like doing a Sudoku without enough numbers to really know what you got. But I like these Aztecs. I think they're a team that's always under the radar because they play late. They play on the West Coast.
They're also just a physical team. And the Mountain West is more of I don't want to say it's a finesse league, but you're used to teams dropping 40 all the time. And then San Diego State just comes out and says, we're going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, they go. Most of the league, they go fast. They throw the ball. It's all about tempo and up speed. The San Diego State team, this is another team that's a throwback. They're just going to beat you over the head. They're going to run the ball down your throat, and then they're going to stuff you on defense.
Yeah, they zag when everyone else zigs, and that's done them pretty well.
That's right. So I like the Aztecs here minus the 10 points. Your thoughts?
For me, I know this total is pretty low at 49 and change or so. I'm going to lean to the under on this one, mainly because of the fact that I know San Diego State's offense has looked pretty sharp the last couple of weeks, dropping 34 against UNLV and 38 against Utah State. We've talked about it before. Those are the worst two teams in the conference. Not even close. I think Utah State might be worse than UNLV. But San Jose State, their defense looked good against Air Force. I know that that's a triple option attack, so they had a full offseason to prepare. But they did look really good against the run. I know New Mexico's not very good either. So they looked good offensively, scoring 38 there. If you look at recent matchups between these two teams, they've been really good to the under. Each of the last year's meeting at 44 points. Year before had 29 points. I think 49 is too high. I think, of course, San Diego State's going to try to dominate the line of scrimmage. They'll try to run the ball, move the chains. And San Jose State does have some big playability with that receiving core. But for the most part, I think San Diego State should have enough answers defensively. I think they'll probably cover the spread. I think they'll win this game probably around 30-13. I think this game will be pretty boring to watch. But I do think that for a low total, it's pretty dicey. But I do think that this total is a little bit too high. So for me, I'm going to lean to the under. I'm going to lean to San Diego State at home because I know San Jose State has looked good so far this season, but they also haven't really faced anybody.
Nope.
Same can be said about San Diego State, but San Jose State, this is definitely a step up in competition because Air Force isn't as good as I thought they were. So for me, I'll lean to the home team, and I'll also lean to the under, even though the total is pretty low.
I will also say that I believe New Mexico is as bad, or if not worse, than either Utah State or UNLV.
It's up there, or it's down there. It's very, very close. They have a three-headed monster for ineptitude in the Mountain West.
Yeah, not good at all. This is a San Diego State team that you just, again, if you like throwback football, they're the ones to watch. We talked a little bit last week about how we kind of got screwed on the under. We were on San Diego State under last week, and basically all Utah State had to do was keep Aztecs from driving 99 yards with about 4 minutes left, and they were unable to do that. So I think we've got a little more competent team in San Jose State. I like your underplay, and I do like the Aztecs to cover the number there at 10. And moving on to a game that really, Scott, is it's really almost too good to be on a Friday.
Oh, it was until Boise had some injury concerns, but yes.
As we've got the BYU Cougars laying 4 up there on the blue turf in Boise. This one has come up a little bit towards BYU, as it was 3.5, and it is now 4 points. So,
well, the line opened up with Boise being basically -1 on the look-ahead line, and now it's completely flip-flopped to BYU -3 or -4, or -3.5, I should say. But a lot of that's injury-based, which I don't know if you want to talk about. Or you want me to talk about?
Go ahead. I kicked off the last one. You can have this one.
So Boise is currently 2-0. They won each of their first 2 games by at least 19 points. Defense struggled against Air Force. They ended up winning 49-30, but they've scored at least 42 points in each of the first 2 games. Meanwhile, BYU has been phenomenal. They are currently 7-0. They are within the top 10, and they've covered every spread except one, so they have been really good lately. However, the main reason why there has been some line movement is because of the fact that Boise State could be without their starting quarterback and their starting running back. Bachmeier did not play last week as he ended up coming down with COVID, so he did not play, and he's currently questionable for this game because of the same reasons. Meanwhile, they also might be missing their starting one of the running backs in Holani, who is questionable with a leg injury. They could be missing some big weapons there for Boise. Meanwhile, BYU might be getting Gunnar Romney back, one of their best receivers who missed the last game with a hamstring injury. Overall, though, I like BYU in this spot, mostly because I'm assuming Bachmeier is not going to play. I think you'll agree with me that based on line movement in college, now this has swayed roughly 4.5 points or so. Is it safe to assume Bachmeier is not going to play?
Yeah, I don't think Bachmeier is going to play. I also don't think it's as big a deal as you do.
I think the backup quarterback's good as well. I just think Bachmeier is really, really good.
You know what? I like this kid. I like this Jack Sears kid from USC.
He's good, but I'm also acknowledging that his only showcase was against Air Force, and Air Force's defense against the pass, not very good.
BYU's best win, Scott?
BYU's best win. It's an excellent question because they don't have many. Looking at who they've beaten, really nobody. I guess at Houston.
Right. That's their signature win. And this Houston team.
I'm just saying I don't think Boise's played anybody either.
They haven't, but they've only played 2 games. But I think this game is a little closer to pick 'em than the average Bear. We'll have to see. Holani's going to be a big one, and I think he's going to go.
I'm just throwing it out there that he is questionable, so keep that in mind.
Right. Well, I did a lot of digging, and seems to be leaning towards going. It's a lot harder to find info in college, as you know, than it is.
It's almost impossible, but yeah.
But I've got and I do have a play on this game. But I like the under here again, Scott. I think this 63 number is just a little bit too high, and I know a lot of that is due to Zach Wilson and the high-powered BYU offense. But something happens to this team when they come north and play in Boise, and it generally doesn't go well for them. They're 0-5 as far as victories go. They just don't play well there for whatever reason. Now they did beat Boise last year, and that was in Utah, and that was the only loss that Boise had in the regular season, and it basically cost them a shot at a New Year's Day game. So I think they've got a little revenge spot on their mind. I wouldn't be surprised to see Boise get with it. They're having best home record in college football since 2001, 113-7 on their home turf. But I think this is going to be more of a defensive battle than people give it credit for. I like the under 63 in this one.
I think it's really a tough one because I really don't know how good this Boise State offense is. I know that they've scored at least 42 points in each of their first two games. Against Utah State, I don't really know if that counts. And against Air Force, they scored 49. Air Force's pass defense isn't exactly good by any means either. Now, BYU's offense, of course, I think regardless of who's quarterback for Boise, whether it's Bachmeier or not, I think Zach Wilson is better than both of them. I think Zach Wilson is a phenomenal quarterback, and I think he will be taken in the first round of the upcoming NFL draft. I think he's actually that good. I don't know what you think of Zach Wilson, but he just has first-round talent written all over him for me. I don't know if it's going to translate to the NFL, but he is insanely talented.
Well, so far it's been like watching a guy at practice.
Yes, he's going up against nobody, but I'm just throwing it out there. He is really, really good. And if you have not watched him play, he's kind of a sleeper Heisman candidate right now, especially now that Lawrence probably won't win because he's going to be missing two games, including the biggest game of the year against Notre Dame. Mac Jones probably the front runner. Zach Wilson really not far behind because his numbers, I know he hasn't played anybody, his numbers are off the charts.
Well, with a big game here, I think Zach Wilson could certainly vault himself into the number 2 spot behind Mac Jones. I don't know if he's going to be able to overtake an SEC player.
Yeah, maybe Justin Fields also, but he's barely played any games so far this season. So Fields will probably be in the 1B option, number 2 option maybe at some point in the season.
Well, see, you run into the problem because you almost know for certain that Ohio State's going to at least probably not play one game. So either they're going to have an outbreak or they're going to be scheduled against somebody that has an outbreak. So can you really give I'm
just throwing it out there for the Heisman. I think the Heisman's most overrated award in sports.
Can you do that to somebody that's played 3 or 4 less games?
Well, I'm just throwing it out there that I know the Heisman is the most overrated, in my opinion, the most overrated award in sports because most of the sports writers who vote on it don't watch the late games, which is why I still think Christian McCaffrey got screwed out of a Heisman that one year. But at the end of the day, Ohio State's one of these premium teams that pretty much everybody follows, whether you like them or you hate them. So I think they automatically get media credit when maybe they don't deserve it. I don't think you can give it to a guy who's going to be playing a couple of games short because of schedule. Then again, it's also not the player's fault. If you think he's the best player in college, then you give him the award. But
it's basically just become part 2 of the Davey O'Brien Award.
It really is. It's a quarterback award. There's nothing that you can really argue about that. But looking at Zach Wilson's numbers, he's got Heisman numbers. He has 2,100 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 2 picks. Also has 7 rushing touchdowns. So he's got 26 total touchdowns, 2 picks. Guy's legit. I think he's a first-round pick. I don't think it's even a discussion. I'm assuming you agree with that?
I don't.
I think he's a second-round guy.
I think it's possible that you're right. I think we'll know a lot more after tonight.
That's fair.
Show me an exemplary performance tonight, like he's done against the rest of these nobodies, and I think you've got. I think he makes himself. I think this game is literally going to be for millions of dollars tonight for Zach Wilson.
That is fair. I think that his skill set just translates extremely well to the NFL. So that's just my opinion.
Very good. All right, bud. Well, there's 3 games, 3 picks. I'm actually looking forward to this Friday night card. There's no Campbell Camels on there anymore. Not even a Coastal Carolina, buddy. We've got
UMass tomorrow, plus 44.5.
We've got some. You know what? I may bring that up in our next.
I'm sure you will.
But for these 3, those are our picks, locked and loaded, everybody. And if you want to find out more about any of these games, of course, where do you go, Scott?
Go to winnersandwiners.com.
Absolutely. The best site anywhere for deep dives into every single game. It is an invaluable resource when handicapping college football, especially because nobody has time to pay attention to 130 D1 schools. You got a job, you got kids, you got stuff to do. That's why we do it for you. So get over there and check out winnersandwiners.com. Deep dives into every game every single day, not just college football, but the entire gamut of North American sports. And we're halfway done, buddy. So make sure that if you're checking us out, make sure that you just click on that next video as we will dive into our 3 favorite plays from the college football schedule this weekend. But for this one, that's a wrap, guys. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Winers, hoping every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. Guys, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care.